And my next game begins as we do finally get into this TvP. In the bottom right-hand corner, a man that's been impressed me greatly as of late. It's been very fun to watch him play. The purple Protoss from Alpha X is Astrea. Taking on the red Terran in the top left corner of the map from Storm Gaming, we have got GuMiho. So it's game one, and GuMiho starts off proxying over to the right-hand side of the map. Nothing really too ludicrous there as we get this first barracks down. I mean, it's fairly far forward, but of course, I mean, this is a norm in TvP to get out a Reaper, put some harassment on early, put on some early pressure, and just kind of go from there in general. So that's our initial setup here for the moment as GuMiho gets this started on this right-hand side. We are going to get double gas going as well. I'm just going to be seeing our setup from Astrea. Going to be looking pretty normal for the moment. He's going to have kind of a bit of a Reaper wall on this left side, afraid of a Reaper jumping up over here and getting in and spotting things, hitting probes. Just trying to zone that out as best as possible. As that barracks is going to finish up, and our Reaper is going to be starting up as well. Nexus drops down onto the natural, and our SCV is going to move up from the natural into the main base, try and see what's going on. And again, just going to have our Cybercore about halfway done for the moment here. Obviously, SCV Scout at least tells you what you're playing against. Good news so far, no Zealot, right? And no Scout from Astrea, so he's not aware that it's a proxy. He's not aware that this is going to be hitting him very soon. So for GuMiho, so far this really is best case scenario. I guess better case scenario would have been Nexus then Cybercore. I always love this little block, right? This is basically putting the bunker in range of the... it actually kind of walls the bunker in so that the SCV can go either side. We build the battery right in face of this. So we actually go into the main base. GuMiho with good identification saying, hey, actually I can get another probe or two here. And he is going to find one more. Astrea at least made him work for it, chasing after it by a little while, for a little while at least. Comes back and forward again. Stalker pops out. Reaper takes a hit. And we are going to pull over to the bunker here as the bunker will start its work on this battery / Stalker. Obviously, we'll just sit here for a while. SCV is going to back it up. He doesn't want to stick around. I think because of the closeness or proximity of this bunker to the battery, the SCV struggles to stay alive here, even with some micro, because it's not like the Stalker has to move into range and out of battery range to hit the SCV. The Stalker is always in range of the SCV repairing while it's being healed by the battery. And I think that does discourage you quite a bit from kind of really committing through there, so yeah. Alright, well, as that early game develops, we have had a pretty exciting little time then. Been pretty fun so far. It comes back around through the south. And it's just going to be unable to get much else done now. We do have a medevac on the way to start supporting these initial aggressive units. It's just 2 Widow Mines from GuMiho, and he's currently just spreading them out around the map. Obviously can perhaps bring them in with the medevac and try and find some dropping damage in the near future. So that's one thing we've got our eyes open for. Robo facility dropping down on the natural expansion as well, so getting this going. There's a couple Stalkers still sitting at the front too, and GuMiho is, well, I mean, he's going to hit a Protoss player that does not have a Twilight or any sort of tech, just one gateway at the moment. This Widow Mine drop, let's see, has a bit of potential to be kind of scary. You know, the 2 Stalkers did spot this on the way in, at least, with the Observer, or the Hallucination, I believe, so the Stalker's at least moving to the right place initially, but then you don't know if this medevac changed direction. Here we go, we're going to commit. We shouldn't be able to kill the medevac in this scenario. And Stalker's actually going to lose a Stalker here without having Blink. Killing a Stalker is very valuable. That's a pretty expensive loss, and this medevac, a very good chance of at least getting one of these mines away. The second mine is going to go for a run as well, as the Reaper on the low ground was fighting the sentry. Yeah, this mine trying to get out of there, but the warping the Stalker should be able to hunt that down. Don't imagine that mine truly gets away. The sentry's going to go back to fight the Reaper once more. As the fight the sentry wins, of course. Sentries are surprisingly quite tanky against a single Reaper. Who knew? We've seen our Marines continue to pop out, and we do have a bit of a push from GuMiho. We know he loves to be aggressive, and he's going to very much so stay aggressive here as well, right? Units heading across to the bottom right-hand side, so Yeah, pretty hefty push coming along there. Marines, tank, all over to the right. Twilight Council and Forge all building up as well. A couple of additional gateways coming through also from Astrea. Also still have that medevac and a couple of mines inside and waiting for an opportunity to go, go, go. The tank's still taking some heavy hits. As we are going to be seeing 2 probes going down. Stalker's coming forward again. Auto turret actually getting a 3rd probe as well, so there really is just pressure everywhere. The Widow Mines are back in this mineral line. Boom! Boom! And 12 probes now killed as GuMiho is on a little bit of a rampage here. And this has been a rough start from Astrea. Now, Astrea actually is going to catch some units over here, which probably shouldn't still really be around. And this rally from GuMiho maybe getting a little bit overly aggressive. He saves the medevac. Still no blink, of course. Still no Twilight Council activated. And we've got one online. And he is now going to choose to go charge, which actually is kind of rough as well, because charge does finish faster, and it might help him in terms of dealing with some of the larger armies. But he is not going to have the blink or Phoenix or anything to really deal with medevacs, or just to kind of, just to kind of push units and drop ships back and to actually have like a lot of mobility. Like, charge helps you to engage into a fight. Charge doesn't do so well to help you everywhere else. A Widow Mine drop does land in the natural expansion, hits 11 probes. We hit one more with the 2nd mine. I mean, those mines just coming back in repeatedly have really delivered a beating to this mineral line of Astrea. I mean, that is only 1 mine lost, and now the medevac has gone down as well. But with this amount of probe damage, it's kind of hard to imagine that Astrea is going to be able to make much happen from this point on. I think this is going to be very tough for him. Like I say, charge might help, but we already have 2 medevacs boosting to the main. Charge ain't done. I actually don't think Astrea can fight this army that's currently in the main base. I mean, you can also... Oh my god. So he drops here. He's going to be able to fight these slow zealots. I mean, zealots get into the fight anyways. But the other thing is, I mean, you're right next to a pylon, which is powering 4 gateways. If you just kill those 4 gates, or depower those 4 gates, there's so much, production loss there. It's going to chase for a bunch of probes. The tank shot is pretty deadly as well under the probes before it then starts shooting stalkers. 17 probes, and we're not done yet as we run into the natural. We're actually going to run all the way into the in-base 3rd, which Astrea pretty much had to take. He dropped an auto turret here as well just to support, because so the auto turret's the natural, because that's where the Raven is this time around. So the Raven helps to get a few more kills. Just again, pressure everywhere from GuMiho. Up 9 workers in the game. Ahead in army supply. Combat shields finishing. Bio in full swing. All he has to be careful of is not letting splash damage do too much, right? To try and stop this splash damage again. To be too crazy of a point. Seems doable, honestly. There's Marines in our tank. Gonna rally back here with the couple of medevacs setting up. And these few stalkers are going to go around the left-hand side. Away they go. A stalker over here just going to set up to keep the Raven at bay. But all possible. So a few moments of settling down after GuMiho has applied pressure pretty much kind of non-stop throughout the early stages. GuMiho, honestly, he's so scary in this matchup, because if he can get a little bit of momentum behind him early game, the man just doesn't stop rolling from there on out. He just goes and goes and goes. So, yeah, I gotta say, pretty cool. Let's see when he kind of gets set up in this one, as we just have our bio units coming back along with these couple of medevacs. I wonder when the next point of pushing out is from GuMiho. Maybe with 1-1 upgrades would probably make a reasonable amount of sense. Try and get something done with that upgrade setup. I think would be very cool, as we open additional units from Astrea out onto the 4th base. +2 attack, chrono boosting away. The blink not far from completing, and that armory is going to finish up as well for GuMiho, so he will have straight away access to 2-2. Yeah, here is this army looking to maybe make use of the 1-1. But Storm is done, so you do have to play carefully here. Ghost Academy is going to be monumental in its efforts to help this game out, right? I mean, you get that Ghost Academy, you get the EMPs. Great against both the Gateway forces and the storms that are currently being set up here, so definitely something to move toward. The storm goes down. GuMiho's initial split is pretty good. He splits back from the next storms recently as well. He does eat a few of them, but I mean, that's usually just inevitable when it comes to to playing against storms. The Prism took a shot. It's going to not take another. I really thought that Widow Mine was about to hit it. In the end, it hits a High Templar. The Prism is extremely low, easily taken down if you can get a little bit of target fire onto it, but obviously it's a bit of a chaotic fight, and GuMiho being kept at bay. Astrea, money to spend if you can warp into this fight. He would actually have a pretty easy cleanup. That's GuMiho. Again, I think at this point you probably wait out the ghosts, right? Wait for the ghosts to come in, play from there. I think has a lot. There's a lot to be said about that. Units still gathering up to the top, and just going to be having our High Templar, Stalkers, and Zealots coming in back on the bottom right-hand side. Still keeping this Bioforce of GuMiho collected in the upper left. As we do have the enhanced shockwaves coming through as well. So bringing all of this online as our SCVs will come across and get to mining on the 4th base. Gonna drop a little storm down. Just gonna see that Bioforce being kept at bay here, and we do have GuMiho pressing down to the south. Planetary Fortress defending against those Zealots. The Stalkers getting warped in. GuMiho still maintain that army supply lead. Loses his Raven. Obviously a little bit of a sad loss, right? Just especially when it feels avoidable. I like the idea there of the split forward to try and shoot down the High Templar. Thought it was the easiest / most efficient way to make that happen, but didn't quite get the kill. Now Astrea is actually still poised in the center. There's only a portion of his army that's zoning out a lot of what GuMiho is working with, so Astrea has a counterattack opportunity here. He's already working on 5 bases as the 6th base is cancelled. And yeah, like I said, I think Astrea counterattack is a huge opportunity. So moving across the map with that, what's going to be seeing, he's actually going to intercept some of these reinforcements. Easy pickings to start. However, now GuMiho's rotating back home with everything else. Maybe he can still make a fight out of this. Remember, obviously, that this is a fairly short map, so running back is not super terribly long to do. Looks like GuMiho's losing a lot of his initial supply, though, and now the rest of Astrea's army has moved up to help, so this is a full army fight, and it's massively in favor of Astrea. Wow, after such a strong early game for GuMiho, he just couldn't really find a way through. And I think one of the big problems was the first real big fight he took was without EMPs against the Storm, so that tech being available for Astrea bought him the time to, I mean, just keep on taking bases and all sorts, right? When you look at the income graph in this game, you can see there was a massive point in time where GuMiho was ahead, but Astrea's just been creeping it back, and resources lost is in favor of Astrea too, so the Terran just has not found the efficiency that you're oftentimes looking for here. As unfortunate as that may be. And in fact, takes a little group of Marauders around the side. At this point, GuMiho just like to cause some chaos, I imagine, more than anything else. We'll see what he can get done. I mean, if you can find a cancel on the base and stuff, right, at least you're still slowing Astrea down. But this is a double expand from Astrea. This base on the right side starts to take damage, and the base on the bottom left is on the way up as well. So Astrea will give up one of these very freely. Doesn't really care all that much. It's kind of just fine. It's a bit of a whatever. So see, EMP is going to start to drop down here as well, and hitting a few of those units. Actually, good EMPs so far. If you can continue to hit EMPs like this might not be engageable for Astrea. Going in with basically no, shields on your units is not a good idea. And obviously, the High Templars were losing their energy as well, so they were losing storm potential during this as well. Also a pretty big deal. Nice little counter-attack at the same time. Zealot's getting through for a chunk of SCVs. So while it looks good for GuMiho on the frontal defense, it's the groups of units in the main that are really causing problems. Astrea's being forced through a lot of choke points and a lot of SimCity to work his way around here as the Liberator picking its way through that prison. The Marauder's going to grab the Zealot. A couple more Zealots continuing in on the orbital. 23 SCVs going down. Coming up the left side of Astrea. Let's see if he can find a fight. He's still just going to zone GuMiho out with those storms. At this stage, I do like that GuMiho's getting to Liberator, as you could also agree that Astrea getting to Disruptors is going to be a very nice little something to see here. So a couple of libs on the side of Astrea, of GuMiho, sorry, and then Astrea will have the Disruptors work with. I mean, does GuMiho have range for the libs? He does. That definitely gives you a shot, right? Especially on this map where we've already seen a lot of SimCity and chokes and Astrea struggling to pick fights. The Libs will make it even more difficult, and if they get it set up aggressively, even more trouble for him. He is doing a good job denying a 5th base from GuMiho at least. As the Stalker's blink straight in over here. That first disruptor will go down. GuMiho hit a good EMP on this, and yeah, this base cannot be engaged, so this is going to be held off for the moment. Astrea putting all of his warp ins across the map, which to be fair is working wonders at the moment. We'll see if he runs out of stuff over here, as the Stalker's actually going to find a good blink forward to engage into the Libs. We dive forward for the disruptors, but one went off. And that's so costly, obviously. I mean, one moment of, mistake here, and Astrea is just going to be able to clean up house. This is game 1 in Astrea's back pocket. He's going to take the lead of this best of 3 opening match for the 2 players in this group. Took a little while, took a bit of effort, but Astrea was able to get it done. Game number 2. In the bottom left-hand side is going to be the red Terran player. Down a game after such a strong start last time. It's got to be a bit frustrating. It is our red Terran, GuMiho, from Psy Storm Gaming. And the top right, our blue Protoss player is Astrea, here from Alpha X, of course. And he could make it an all-Alpha X winners match in today's group. And as Ragnarok sits waiting for the winner of this series, that will be played after the elimination match, in which Trigger currently awaits an opponent from either Astrea or GuMiho. So that's where we currently stand. There's that probe coming across the map, and again, Astrea just so good lately. I mean, this first game started off, and I was like, geez, you know what? It was me, right? I said it. I went ahead and said if I was going to pick one player to advance in this group comfortably, I'd say Astrea. And then Astrea's losing probes left, right, and center. His early game's a mess, and he's getting kind of beat up on. Good guy, Astrea comes back and proves that I wasn't talking complete nonsense, at least. Yeah, to me, Astrea has been the most consistent of the players in this group, and don't get me wrong, I do... especially in the best 3s, you tell me GuMiho can beat Astrea? Sure, I believe that. You tell me Ragnarok can beat Astrea? Sure, I can believe that. It's the consistency, though, that makes me feel like Astrea, unless this is a weird day for him, should be able to make it through this group. If not in first place, then quite comfortably in second, I would say. Yo, Hyro010, thank you so much for the gifted sub to Blue Cyclone as well. Appreciate the support, appreciate the love. Thank you so much for supporting the stream today. Yeah, thank you so much. Of course, I mentioned Reno just then. A lot of people asking, yes, Reno is going to Korea to play in the GSL qualifier and to practice. There is the Foreigner team house set up there again. Astrea and Rex currently in that team house. So Astrea will have Reno living with him in a probably day's time or so. Has there been any announcement on GSL casting? I don't think there's any announcement to make for this upcoming season. I'm pretty sure Artosis won't cast the round of 20 because he's away, but he will cast the round of 10 and onwards, I believe. So, I don't think Artosis isn't leaving Korea fully until the end of this year, I believe. So this season of GSL is fairly normal. It's just the initial group stages Artosis isn't around for, as far as I'm aware. Well, a little bit of setting up here, guys. This game has been a lot less interesting than the last in terms of the super early game. We were only 3.5 minutes in, and the last game started with a proxy, so that shouldn't come as too much of a surprise statement. But that's kind of where I'm looking at this right now, that not too much is happening, nothing too crazy going on. Once we get this set up and going. Mind is going to move forward, get up atop the ramp, Reaper coming around the top side as well, and our robotics facility is going to start up on the side of Astrea. Get that blink started too. All of this is coming through for the moment. How come MaxPax is listed as a participant but isn't in any of the groups? Because he is in Group Stage 2 already. 8 players are automatically seeded into Group Stage 2 of the WardiTV Summer Championship. So a little bonus for the guys that have been playing a lot of the WardiTV events so far this year. They get to skip a And performing well, of course, so not just fully participation points. Yeah, you get to play a lot and you earn points, and then you get to skip a round of the tournament. Guaranteed $200 for starting in Group Stage 2, even if you lose there, which is pretty sick, if you ask me. Pretty darn cool. Here's that little Widow Mine drop coming in, so GuMiho looking for some early damage. Let's see what he can find this time. He's got units skirmishing out on the map as well. Let's watch the Widow Mines, though, because they're going to pop off right now. Okay, unburrow, reburrow. Check in over here quickly. Marines fighting Stalkers doesn't usually end well. Still have one mine to reburrow and fight again and to try and buy a bit more time and annoyance. It's a couple of probes there, so it's 3 workers killed in total. Not bad, to be fair. Could have been a whole lot worse. Now, some Stalkers are pressuring, though. This is only 2 gates from Astrea, so it's not like he's got a ton of units, but a lot of those units from GuMiho on the map. And, okay, we do get into the bunker. The Stalkers kind of commit in. They have it blink out, at least, though. There's a few Marines. Oh, I bet they wish they'd stayed on the low ground. They would have at least had a Stalker kill. Maybe would have had a second before they died. Attack upgrade +1 already halfway through there. More Marines into the main as another command center will be dropping into place. It's going to be seeing additional racks going down, and this medevac through the top side looking to aim toward the main in the next few moments. Still set up down here. Tank's actually going to get a couple free shots off, so that's a nice little bit of vision provided by those Marines standing in front of that tank, allowing you to reach forward and get some shots on those Stalkers that I don't feel like initially are usually there, right? I don't feel like those shots usually get to go off, so that's a nice little something as the Raven continues to make its way around. Now, the right-hand side of the map, so going to work its way up there. See if it can find a way in, find some damage, if at all possible. These units are just kind of derping around behind that mineral line is enough to zone the Raven out for now. Widow Mine drop also denied, so we're just going to keep these units here as threats. But it does mean it keeps a lot of units from Astrea back at home, hence Astrea cannot bring everything across the map full force just yet. And that should give GuMiho a much easier time establishing his 3rd base in the next 20 seconds or so. It's about to finish building. We'll see if he wants to morph an orbital, then go low ground. I think he might float low ground, then morph the orbital, because he's already past saturation on 2 bases, so it becomes a little bit more efficient in those cases to actually float the CC to the low ground, get the SCVs mining efficiently, and then morph the orbital in, instead of, you know, morphing the orbital high ground gives you like an extra, like, you know, 15 seconds of energy, right? So it's like a slightly faster mule. So that was the plan from GuMiho. There's the orbital now morphing in location. We just have ourselves a Bioforce that's at least on the map to apply some pressure. It'd be nice to try and start slowing down a 4th base or something from Astrea. Interestingly, Astrea goes bottom right for the 4th, which is the base which has like a bit of a choke point into it, so I was not really expecting that as the choice from him here. Usually that top side base is quite nice because you actually just get a nice little comfortable setup. Everything's close by, everything kind of just works. So yeah, a little bit intrigued by the base choice of Astrea. I mean, it's not the craziest thing to have ever happened, but like I say, a little bit interesting if nothing else. As our Bio stimming forward, knocked down a pylon already, and well, tank siege on the low ground. This base might die. I mean, a lot of the units are over here getting whacked by tanks. Now, this base is going to die, so the 4th will fall. And GuMiho's initial push out is already going to claim pretty much what it's looking for, no? I mean, what more can you be looking for than that? There's a couple of Marauders going to go down pretty quickly. The Stalkers will blink onto the tanks. We drop auto turrets here to help with this fight. Obviously, GuMiho's missing a lot of units elsewhere. Good from Astrea to keep all of his Colossi alive. That's one of the main things you're looking to do here. Keep your tech online. By keeping your tech alive, you really do give yourself a much better shot in this game, no matter what else is going on. So yeah, GuMiho losing a few units, but again, at least he got the cancel on the 4th base, or the kill on the 4th base. Now Astrea once again just says, cool, lost a base, double expand. I'll take one or the other. We'll see if GuMiho can find an answer to that. It's a lot of money invested straight away into bases, which isn't going to be represented in the army for a while, but you know, with 3 Colossi up, I'm not sure what GuMiho can necessarily do against that army. He is splitting in 2 directions. There's actually quite a swarm of units from Astrea on the bottom side, as I think this top base will be in trouble, but yeah, a lot of Stalkers over here kind of watching for a drop, if nothing else. Just keeping their eyes open for that possibility. Not really going to find it yet as the Bioforce gets to the top. Is going to knock down this pylon. Some more Bio units over here trying to fight against the Stalkers and Colossi. And Widow Mines retargeting. Wow, the Widow Mines do not fire, which is really nice because obviously you don't want to just fire onto a Stalker that blinks away from the shot and the Widow Mines die. And this is actually kind of a serious push forward from GuMiho. Disruptor buys you a few moments. It misses the Widow Mine though. It's actually kind of a serious base trade that's starting to happen here. GuMiho recognizes it as well, and he's not going to let that Disruptor get away. He target fired it for like 1 second, and he's like, actually no, I'm going to let it get away. That makes moving up into the main base mineral line much more difficult. I do like a little bit what GuMiho's doing in terms of sending that bottom right army to the bottom right. So just saying, okay, I'm not going to send everything in one place. I don't need one big fight. I need to start doing damage everywhere and denying bases any way I can. I think at this point he might even just try to deny all the mining bases and just leave Astrea's main base alone. And then maybe make a bit of a play on his own base. He does get this base. He loses a ton of units for it, however, as the recall came in over there. This army here is going to get this Nexus. Astrea instantly rebuilding in the bottom right corner. We load up now and we can go maybe hunting for somewhere to drop. There's not a lot of Stalkers in the top of the map, and GuMiho, I think, just... It's going to be tough to just escape with these units. I mean, oh my god, some of these pylons he could kill would be massive. Shut down some of the production. And again, how much do you really need to slow Astrea's production down? You've already shut down his base count. He can't use all these gateways. I actually much prefer the target find of the Robo facility. It's a smart choice from GuMiho in the moment, because the Robo can bring, you know, more tech units in that can make it very difficult for GuMiho, whereas knocking down 5 gateways doesn't matter if Astrea only has the money to warp in from 4 gateways at a time anyway, right? So I like that choice a lot. The Ghost hits the EMP before he falls, and this Bioforce is going to start stimming through. The only issue is there's not a massive real answer to Colossi. There is a potential flank. The units coming in from the top side could just fly onto those Colossi. I mean, honestly, that's not a bad idea. We do have the Raven with energy that could maybe make a bit of a play as well. So there are definitely options right now in terms of how we deal with this, as Astrea does back it up. And GuMiho's supply is honestly looking very good. To me, it looks as though GuMiho is likely in a very good position in this game too. He's also got 2-2 against 1-1. He denied the Forges and the Natural of Astrea. Knock down this third base location again, or at least try to. Oh, goodbye, Raven. Drop a Matrix at least, so we'll kind of zone the Colossi for a bit as we do get up to cancel the Natural rebuild. And we hit the bottom right. Probes go down to the Widow Mines, and this base dies as well. GuMiho is really just all over the place at the moment and playing a very good game for being all over the place too, so doing a very good job of this. Colossi gonna go lose one of them. The Marauders want to get number 2, can't quite reach it. GuMiho loses a lot of units, but I think he's going to be okay. The Colossus surviving on low HP. Man, when the Protoss players can micro those Colossi and just keep them alive, it's crazy how much additional value can come out of it. We are going to look to get this base as well, so Astrea is reset to 1 base again. The units were trying to get a Colossus in the end as well. You can see them trying to run through everything to get to the Colossus. And you know what? This seems reckless from GuMiho, but actually, he has the army supply to still be okay. He knows all he has to do at home is survive. I think he really believes against 2 Colossi and Stalkers, that's something he can absolutely achieve. So, yeah, let's see what Astrea can do. He also has to push up this ramp Astrea through the choke point right. We've been here before. Here comes the Prism dropping a few Zealots in play. The Vikings will hit the Colossi from afar, forcing the Colossus to micro back, which actually in this case means that the Colossi just aren't able to fire onto the army as much, although GuMiho is chasing pretty heavily and is now going to find one of the Colossus, and Astrea's supply drops to 30 and below. GuMiho has absolutely the numbers necessary to close this out, get the GG, and tie this series up 1-1. Alright, we are going the distance. So, hell yeah to that, right? Always a celebration when we don't have to deal with a whole bunch of mirror matchups or anything along those lines. We can just kind of enjoy. For the most part, I mean, it's okay if a mirror matchup slips in here and there. But we don't have a group which is just entirely Protoss players or something, you know, which is absolutely happened at recent events. There's been a lot of Protoss players in some of those group stages. It's GuMiho upper right and Astrea upper left for the final map of this best of 3 on Stargazers. Let's see where this one will take us. I believe our current caster, whose camera I'm stealing today, is probably still doing his intros. There we go. Matchups are okay until it's TvT. Well, that's okay, because there's not enough Terran players for TvT mirrors, right, guys? You don't see a lot of TvT mirrors in our events. Maybe in group stage 2, though. I mean, the Terran competition in this event is kind of fierce this time around. Clam, Bjorn, Cure, Hero Marine. Has been playing well. GuMiho is playing well. You know, like, that's a scary combo of players for sure. Astrea takes the gold straight away. Astrea loves these kind of crazy builds as of late. Been a big fan of mixing it up and getting a little bit funky. It's actually our, by the way, our 4th time running the Summer Championship. We missed it in 2020, but we have had the Summer Championship in 2018, 2019, and 2021. It's one of our longest major events. It's doubled up the prize pool from last year, and last year's event was really cool because we actually did have Classic. It was kind of when Classic was first returning, and he made a hell of a run through the tournament. He got first place in his group over Bunny, Marine Lord, Hero, and a Laser. And then Classic went on to beat Solar 3-2, Trap 3-1, and make it to the finals, where he would eventually lose to Cure in the 2021 Summer Championship finals. That was a hell of a run from Classic back then. It was very, very fun to see him playing so well, and it got me really excited, because to me, that was the first time, like I said, seeing Classic do, like, really well. I know, like, we'd seen him do pretty okay in online cups, but yeah, that was a really cool event last year that we had for the Summer Championship. So again, cool, got a bit of history in this event, if you like. We have our reigning championship Cure here in the tournament. In fact, Cure won the Summer Championship in 2019 as well, so he's like the back-to-back champ. Reno won it in 2018. He's involved this time around as well. He's not been involved in the last couple, if I'm not mistaken, so WardiTV storylines are all over the place in this tournament, was what I'm saying, guys. We've got storylines aplenty. Amazing. Well, this gold base from Astrea is going to turn into that Stargate proxied as well, so Astrea going real aggressive here in this game number 3. It's been so fun to watch Astrea play lately. The man is kind of crazy, honestly, like, into the mid-game. He is so freaking powerful. He's honestly becoming one of my favorite players to watch. And, you know, for a long time, a few people on the Astrea hype, and I didn't personally feel it, you know, just, yeah, Protoss player. I was like, yeah, for whatever reason, it just didn't really do it for me. Like, I appreciate it was good play, just, you know, it wasn't like someone would be like, oh god, I gotta watch his games. And now I kind of am like, man, I really want to see Astrea play, because his games are very fun, exciting. I feel like he can definitely get himself back into games he's losing. It's just been really fun, and especially lately doing stuff like these gold base openers and so on has been really fun to watch as well. And he's been kind of a little bit wild lately. I mean, he even cracked out some stuff recently too. In the Cannon Rush in the TSL opening round as well, so yeah, Astrea is definitely becoming one of those guys that, like, I always want to click on his games, right? Like, I always want to be seeing what he's up to. I'm so excited that he qualified into the tournament, chose to play on his own accord. We got to cast him a little bit here is, yeah, that's going to be a little bit unfortunate for Astrea. He's going to lose the pile on the Stargate. I mean, he's got the 2 Oracles up, but obviously just hasn't really found a whole bunch of damage here. He's killed a Widowmine and a Reaper. Yeah, he's not taking damage either, so I mean, there's always the, you know, praise to that, but yeah, I feel like he would have liked to get something done with these Oracles. Of course, he is mining off a gold base, so you look at his economy, and his income is generally pretty nicely ahead. So that is a bonus. If you can keep that going, then brilliant. GuMiho's going to start focusing his attention actually down to the gold, bringing the main army down in that direction now, so changing things up a little bit is, yeah, he's going to start having the Cyclone on the other side, getting a lock on and stuff, so just little things kind of coming together on that already. His Oracle's going to start going huge in the mineral line. It's actually really nice. So I was saying it would be nice to get some damage done with these, and he actually finds major damage with them. 5 SCVs, 6, 7, 8. Oh my goodness. Unfortunately, the Cyclones do get the kill on both of them, so it was really good until the Oracles died, right? I mean, it's sad to lose the Oracles. You lose vision because of the revelations you're missing out on. That's just kind of sad. I felt like it was going so well for Astrea. But yeah, both the Oracles die, maybe just a bit too greedy sticking around when GuMiho does have a response at least on the way. So yeah, a little bit of a misplay there. This has been one of the things that's been very annoying from Protoss players, blinking up over here and using this as an access point into the main. It's something the Terrans have struggled to deal with, and it's just a very powerful position as we do see one Stalker going down for the cost of the Viking. Eventually make it 2-3 Stalker kills. There's no blink of, well, he has to have the blink to blink out, right? So he couldn't blink away. Now he's going to start blinking out, and that was actually a lot of damage taken. Astrea really takes a bit of a beating there, quite frankly. That's going to hurt quite heavily, so that sucks a little bit as our Medivacs coming through the top side. A Phoenix will spot them, but is he actually going to be able to make them unload and to really slow them down here? I don't think so. Phoenix continue to put a little bit more damage in as the Medivacs do turn around. I mean, honestly, I thought they could have flown through there and just committed. Astrea's actual army supply is not great right now. No charge just yet either. Double Forge on the way. Of course, as seconds pass by, it does feel as though that advantage from GuMiho slips away a bit. This, army which feels unstoppable at the moment is going to become a lot more manageable. And as he puts his own 3rd CC down on location, Astrea is already building a 4th base. So, again, the gold base income advantage helping Astrea out a lot there. And to be fair, when you're mining the gold base, you do need to take a 4th quicker because the gold base mines out faster than a usual base would. So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It just feels kind of rough for GuMiho, who is not really able to, like I said, I really felt like he had an option or a moment with his army, but it feels like that moment's passing. Maybe right now still there is some hope, just as he's about to have, well, he still has the 1-0 upgrade lead compared to 1-1 about to be finished. And I think when that 1-1 is done, that really is when there's just going to be so little that Astrea can do about this. This force is seen by that initial Zealot. We are going to stem in towards the natural. A couple more Zealots go down for free. Robo facility, free pickings. I would take the Robo. I know he's not playing like a Robo-heavy style, but I feel like it's a great tech unit to get, or structure to get rid of. Limit the choice on the follow-up. He doesn't kill it. He goes in the main. He's had a lot of probe kills already. In the main base we go. We'll not get to the forges in time. There's nothing to really deny the Twilight for, apart from maybe stopping 2-2 from starting. Marines sit in a very good choke point here, at least, and they will just fight against this army until the blink-in happens. There is a push from Astrea on the right-hand side, so he's chasing whatever forces of GuMiho are over their back. And, well, at the end of the day, these Medivacs at least get out alive. 14 probes going down. I still feel like I would have liked him to finish the Robo. It's like one more attack, and then you could have continued into those probes still. I feel like he would have just done the same amount of damage, plus had a Robo kill, but I can appreciate he was maybe scared of sticking around the front, expecting an army to show up any second. I mean, that's always the fear, right? You're kind of playing the guessing game in your head, trying to time it out, think, well, if he set off when he saw this attack, how long will it be until he gets there? I just feel like he got so much damage on that Robo. It's like, why not just take that one extra hit? Why not just play for it, Fire on the bottom, gonna get rid of some structures and start denying this gold base, which at this point Astrea's mined a lot of, but he's not mined out, so he would have liked to have kept it alive a bit longer at least. This is cool because it sets it down to a 3 base versus 3 base game. We'll kill off this assimilate as well. Wouldn't mind donating themselves. They just wander forward. No burrows, not even an attempt to burrow, unfortunately. Force field's down. Going to keep a little bit of this bio army back. Going to stem back up the top side. We find the Prism that's kind of donating itself. I mean, a Zealot counterattack's going to run into a ton of units. Plus, Liberators are going to really shoot these down easily. It's a lot of Zealots dropping, and it actually really feels as though Astrea is in some serious trouble here. GuMiho's army right now is just so freaking large. That's a recall, but it's not even a scary recall, right? It's like, it's a Zealot. It's almost like trying to scare GuMiho away. It's like, look, I'm recalling! And GuMiho's like, shit, what do you have? Well, yeah, not very much, actually. GuMiho is bringing reinforcements across the map, too. The Zealot count's already dropping. I do think GuMiho is going to be the one to move into the winners match here. It's going to make it an all-American elimination round between Trigger and Astrea. We are going to get to see a bit of PvP, and GuMiho will have his go at Ragnarok in our first best of 5 of the tournament after our final best of 3 of Group A. Again, it's best of 3 for the starting matches and elimination.